Hello, just imagine using the websites that you use daily with your eyes closed. Isn't it difficult to even imagine that? Because you won't be able to see the buttons, the inputs, the links, and so on and so forth. So, today we will talk about a topic which is close to my heart, accessibility testing. Not just because it's a mandate, but it helps the web applications become more accessible to a wider range of audience. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, here's a news flash. Earlier this year, the European Accessibility Act went into enforcement. And while the 508 compliance and similar rules have always been a standard in the US, this new European Region Act enforces that all the web applications and other digital services should be accessible. Now, what it means in simple words is that people with limited visibility also should be able to access the web applications. Now, while you might be building on top of Salesforce and believe that Salesforce is a standard application, it is. But very interestingly, if you are building customizations on top of Salesforce, you must ensure that they are accessible. This also applies to other full stack web applications. So let's look at a few solutions on how we can check for accessibility. So looking at our options for testing accessibility, interestingly, there are multiple ways in which we can solve this puzzle. First and foremost, there are brilliant libraries like Xcode. These are open source and can be used by technical folks for checking for accessibility. Second, in the new age of AI, we also have MCP servers for AA or AAA standards. If you just Google for them, you'll find them. And then using tools such as Claude, you can also check for accessibility very easily. Last but not the least is obviously agents. So you can use TestZeus for checking for accessibility using natural English language and make it a part of your routine testing cycles. The bottom line is that your applications must be compliant with EU RA web support. So let's see how we can check for accessibility using TestZeus AI agents. Now that we know why is accessibility testing required, let's jump into how to do it using TestZeus AI agents. On my screen, we have written a small, simple test case for testing accessibility as per the EU standards. It literally says, given the user is on a certain web page, then validate the page for EU accessibility standard, then there should not be any issues. Once you have written the test case, I can just hit live test and TestZeus will spin up a browser within this browser and run this accessibility test for us. While this simple test case is running, let's go to one of the older runs and see the results. As we can see on the list screen over here, the older run has actually failed. If I click onto the step, we'll see the exact failure issues. A brief summary highlights that the page had 7 non-compliant issues, and while we do provide a brief summary, we can also download the detailed issues. For simplicity, we have already downloaded them and then we are projecting them on the screen over here. Not only do we get to see all the issues in tabular format, we also get to see the impact, the affected element, and most importantly, the fix. For example, this web element did not have the sufficient color contrast. So that is how, using TestZeus AI agents, you can write test cases in natural English language, run them within the browser itself, and get to see the results. So here's the big question. While the Salesforce platform itself is compliant with the accessibility standards, are your customizations compliant or not? Using AI, let's make the entire web more accessible. If you want to try out TestZeus, just go to testzeus.com and see the magic for yourself. Thank you and bye-bye.